All right, so when I say the name Dracula, what pops into your head? I'm guessing it's the cape, the fangs, a spooky castle on a cliff, right? But what if I told you that the story you think you know is really just a tiny piece of a much bigger and honestly way more fascinating story? Today, we're going to deconstruct the world's most famous vampire.
No, really. The character that has been terrifying and captivating us for over a century is this incredible mashup of real history, ancient folklore, and just pure literary genius. So let's peel back the layers together and find the man hiding behind the monster.
To even begin to understand the legend, we've got to go back, way back. We have to start with the history. Because before there was a Count Dracula, there was a real man who inspired both the name and that fearsome reputation.
Okay, so this is the fundamental split at the heart of the entire legend. On one side, you have the man, Vlad the Impaler, a very real 15th century Romanian ruler who was known for being incredibly, and I mean incredibly, brutal in defending his homeland. And on the other side, you have the myth, Count Dracula, the fictional, neck-biting vampire from Bram Stoker's novel. The book absolutely borrowed the name and that reputation for ruthlessness, but the whole vampire part? Nope, that was all Stoker.
So where did that iconic name even come from? You might think it was just invented to sound scary, but the truth is way cooler and totally grounded in history. Vlad's father was part of this knightly group called the Order of the Dragon. This earned him the nickname Dracula, which meant the dragon. Well, in Old Romanian, Dracula simply means son of the dragon, so it started as a title of heritage, not horror.
So how did this historical figure become this massive literary icon? Well, this is where the author, Bram Stoker, enters the picture, crafting a legend from his desk right in the middle of London.
And here's where the power of imagination really just takes over. Get this, Bram Stoker never once set foot in Transylvania. He built that entire atmospheric, creepy world of the novel just by reading travel books and looking at maps. He was also inspired by folklore and some real-life letters describing blood-drinking spirits in Eastern Europe. Oh, and as a final twist, the book we all know as Dracula was almost published under the title The Undead. Doesn't have quite the same ring to it, does it?
Here's probably one of the biggest surprises about the novel itself. For a character who completely defines the story, Count Dracula is barely in it. He only appears in 7 of the book's 27 chapters. He's more of a terrifying, unseen presence, a force of nature whose influence you feel everywhere, even when he isn't on the page. His cultural impact is just completely out of proportion to his actual page time.
Of course, the story didn't just stop with the final page of the book. In fact, you could say that's where the legend truly exploded. Dracula's afterlife on the silver screen is where our modern image of the vampire was really forged.
So the book comes out in 1897, but the first film adaptation, the super creepy silent classic Nosferatu from 1922, was completely unauthorized, a total knockoff. Bram Stoker's widow actually sued for copyright infringement, and she won. The court ordered that all copies of the film be destroyed. Thankfully for film history, a few prints survived, and the cinematic vampire was born.
And from those nearly destroyed origins, Dracula's film career became unstoppable. He has appeared in over 200 films. Just let that sink in for a second. More than 200 movies feature this one character in some way. That's just a staggering cultural footprint. And to put that number into perspective, he is the second most portrayed character in all of film history. The only one who has appeared on screen more often? The legendary detective Sherlock Holmes. That's the company he keeps. Pretty wild.
Okay, here's where we get to bust some major myths. Think vampires hate garlic, wooden stakes, and sunlight? Well, that's mostly thanks to the movies. In Stoker's original novel, Dracula's power was really only weakened by holy items, like crucifixes. And while sunlight made him less powerful, it didn't kill him. The whole idea of garlic and a stake through the heart being the go-to vampire-slaying tools, that was really popularized by cinema.
And for our final myth bust, you know that iconic castle you see in every travel brochure? Bran Castle in Romania, the place they market as Dracula's castle? Well, it was never the home of the real Vlad the Impaler. It's just a fantastic piece of marketing, another layer of fiction that we've all built on top of a historical foundation.
Which brings us to our final question. After all this time, after separating the man from the myth and the book from the movies, why are we still so captivated by this story? Maybe it's because Dracula represents something absolutely timeless, our fear of the unknown, the allure of immortality, and that thin, thin line that separates humanity from the monster that might just be inside all of us.